I hope you brought your appetites because we're talking Cannibal Mukbang. That's right. We're talking Cannibal Mukbang, the 2023 film, which is currently available on all digital platforms in the US and overseas. It's directed by Amy Cooch. I hope I said that right. And starring Nate Wise, April Consalo, and Clay Von Karlowitz. So, for those of you who maybe don't know what a mukbang is a video usually posted online featuring a person eating large quantities of food, often while talking to the audience as if sharing a meal with them. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It is someone eating a large quantity of food. And a cannibal mukbang, I think, needs no explanation. So, this film, it's about a girl who is a mukbang performer, I guess you would say, or mukbang content creator. And she meets our main protagonist, Mark, who is this shy guy who's single and just kind of looking for love. And Ash is this beautiful woman who's kind of mysterious, quirky, and seems like a ton of fun. So she ends up reciprocating his attraction. They seem to kind of just hit it off, understand each other in a way almost that feels like, hey, something's got to be off. It's almost like she's out of my league, might Mark think, but he does not. He kind of goes for the ride, and then he finds some secret of hers, which I think you can probably put together right from the title of the film. It is the director Amy Cooge's debut film. It is a very fascinating film. I really enjoyed this. Actually, it's that's kind of an understatement, I would say. Actually, I liked it a lot. So I would say this film is like indie horror rom com revenge film, just all kind of wrapped up in one, and it's really, really interesting. It brings up a lot of ethical, moral issues in a very not forcing it down your throat kind of way. But if you can kind of sit back and go for the ride with this film, I think you'll walk away kind of like contemplating what would you do in some of these situations, or maybe even relate to it in some ways. Because I think in many ways, aside from murder and cannibalism, this film is sort of relatable about dating and meeting people and kind of the falling in love experience as well. So, yeah, this is like I said, it's an indie film. There's this great segment in this film that's shot in 8mm film, which is actually very cool. They do this in a flashback scene, which I thought was really well done. It actually was like took me by surprise because sometimes when films do some kind of like weird aesthetic or like retro film thing, it can come off as cheesy. That was not the case here at all, at least in my opinion. I thought that they handled the situation really well. It made sense stylistically, I guess, to do it on that kind of film, but also it was just a really cool segment that gave a little bit of explanation to our character and really moved the story along. So outside of that, I mean, this had all the feels of like the indie films that I love, kind of that lower budget, um, but high quality work, I would say would be a big thing. I really enjoyed the characters. Mark and Ash, they're both like not one dimensional characters at all, especially Ash. She has tons of layers, which you start to kind of peel the onion layers as the film goes along. But even Mark is kind of an interesting character. He's not just like this sap that falls in love. At times, he's kind of like faced with these questions of like, should I go forward with this? Is this weird? Should I continue trying to date, even though I just met this person that I'm hitting it off with? All this kind of stuff. And there is some use of trauma to kind of push along the drive of one of the characters, which I thought was really good. And without giving too many spoilers, we do have like almost like a Dexter esque scenario going on. But I think that the biggest thing is it kind of begs this question of whether murder can ever be justified or ethical. Um, it's an interesting question. And if you watch the film, you'll kind of understand where I'm going with that question. And I think that our main character Mark at times has to kind of weigh, is this something that I could condone? Is this something that feels okay for me? So I thought that was like an interesting thing. It's always a you know a question that kind of like I feel doesn't have a straightforward answer. Um, and I would love to kind of hear other people kind of explore that. So yeah, I say if you like indie romance horror, this would be a nice film for you. If you like revenge flicks, this is definitely a great film for you. And if you just like quirky things, this is a great film for you. A movie that it kind of reminded me of, and I also think it would be a great companion film to watch if you ever want to do like a double feature. You could do Cannibal Mukbang and Are We Not Cats? More so tone and style, it reminded me of that very much so in that like indie horror romantic category. So yeah, that would be a film that I would say pairs well with this. So check out this film. Let me know your feedback. I'm interested to know. I don't think that this will be a film that people who love hardcore slashers or films that are, just quick with a lot of murder and, action they're not gonna drive to this one. But if you are a person who likes character development, quirky indie films, and all the other stuff that I mentioned prior, I definitely think this is something you'll dig. And it was, I think, for a debut film, I think this was really impressive. And I can't wait to, see what Amy has in store for us next. But I'm just glad she created this film in the meantime, because I enjoyed this quite a bit. So, Cannibal Mukbang, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later.